Welcome to Boob Talk with your host, Cynthia Rogers. Listen as we discuss the issues breast cancer and cancer survivors face. Come along on our journey. We are survivors. Welcome to Boob Talk. I'm your host, Cynthia Rogers. Thank you for joining me this evening. Tonight, our special guest is Sipho Ibeakanma. She's the owner of Niesh Hair Scarf, and we will be discussing the important work that she is doing for cancer survivors through her business. Ms. Sipho, welcome to Boob Talk.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you could be with us this evening.
I'm glad you invited me here today, Cynthia. I'm excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. So, Ms. Sipho, how did you start Niesh Hair Scarf?
Oh, my goodness, Cynthia, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it short, as short as possible.
We have time.
Now, that's good. I'm glad we have time. Yeah, so it didn't start on a good note, but what actually happened, Cynthia, my granddaughter, Nisha, was diagnosed with cancer. It's a very rare cancer called desmoplastic small round cell tumors. And this cancer affects, we were told, less than 1,000. There's less than 1,000 cases known worldwide. And Nisha happened to be one of those less than 1,000 people who were unfortunate. But this was, just trying to think, this was in 2018. So Nisha was diagnosed with this cancer in 2018. And what's very interesting is that just before that, I created this hair scarf for myself. I was diagnosed with alopecia a long time ago. And so I do wear wigs on and off. And I've always found wigs very uncomfortable, very itchy, very hot.
Yes.
Yeah, but, it's in many cultures, a woman's hair is her pride. So
yes.
I really, I could, but, as women, we make things work. So I did learn to make short hair work for me, a bald head work for me, and I used the wigs occasionally, but they were just so hard. When I got home, whenever I wore a wig, when I got home, the first thing to go was the wig before I even took off my shoes.
Yeah, you threw that off and threw it across the room, didn't you?
Yeah, like the wig off. There it goes. So, yeah, but it was very interesting. My daughter wears these hair scarves around her hair. Beautiful, beautiful when she puts them on. So this one day, my daughter Cleopatra and my granddaughter Nisha were visiting us. And so when I walked in home, I had my Afro wig on, and it was synthetic. So I said, you know what, can you tie that scarf on my head the way you have it? She brought me an animal print scarf as a gift. So I said, can you tie it on just on my, like you tie yours? She tied it on. Oh my goodness! It pressed the synthetic hair onto my scalp, and it was itchy. It was in August too. It was so hot. So the combination of the wig and the scarf was just unbearable. But I looked in the mirror. I was captivated by the image. I loved it. Now, and I'll put it on, take it off. A few days later, I'll put it on again and take it off. And And it was like at some point I was like, oh man, forget this. And then I got a phone call during those days, during my hair scarf trial. So I had to leave on an emergency trip. My mom was very sick in Zimbabwe. So I had to leave. I'm in Canada, so I had to fly to Zimbabwe immediately to see my mom. So when I came back from that trip, I went back to my Afro wig and my hair scarf, tried it on again. But one of those days, an idea hit me. I cut that wig, just this wig, I cut it off. I cut the piece, just the crown, because when you tie the scarf around that wig, the only part that you see is the top part, the crown. The rest of the hair, I don't. Yeah. So I'm like, wait a minute. Here's an idea. So I just cut off that crown and sewed it on top of the scarf. And guess what? Now I had a barrier between my head and the itchy hair.
Oh.
And I tied it on, and I was in heaven. I was so happy, you know.
Good idea.
Yeah, so this is just using that recycled material. This just the crown of the used wig. I created a very light, comfortable hair scarf for my head. You know, I was really excited about this. Pleased with this creation, I suddenly realized that this, my little simple idea, design, could be the answer to empowering and emboldening women who are experiencing hair loss. You know, and this could restore their sense of normality and femininity, you know.
Yes.
Then, in that moment, just my heart swelled with emotion. I thought, what a joy it would be to make these beautiful hair scarves and donate them to cancer patients. I was just so overjoyed.
What a beautiful idea.
Yeah. But the irony of that was that within days, literally within days of that little invention, in my thinking, I'll make a whole bunch of these and donate them to cancer patients. My beloved granddaughter, Nisha, was admitted to see kids. This is in Toronto Hospital, and soon to be diagnosed with this rare terminal cancer I talked about in the beginning, desmoplastic small round cell tumors. And that was, I guess, the end of that excitement. What happened over the next 12 months, I was just back and forth to see kids. Because see kids, Toronto, I live in Kingston. So I was 3 days in Toronto, 4 days home, 4 days in Toronto, 3 days home. My daughter and I were just taking turns, and my niece, we just taking turns, just staying there at the hospital with Nisha. You know, so unfortunately, Nisha did not make it. So she did eventually lose her fight to the this cancer after 13 long months. But you know, during that time, you grow going through something like this. You grow, you learn a lot. With what was happening with each chemotherapy session, Nisha's skin became very sensitive. She couldn't use a lot of fabrics. She had to, Cleopatra, the mother, Cleopatra is my daughter, who is Nisha's mother. She really became a student of her daughter's pain. You know, she got to know the fabrics that Nisha could tolerate and the ones that she couldn't tolerate. Most of the the fabrics that you could tolerate was cotton and silk. So we had to change everything of Nisha's, from cushion covers, clothes, linens, bedsheets, everything. We had to change it to cotton and silk. And the other thing is, during that those days, during that 12, 13 months, Nisha had to undergo a lot of treatment, and during those days, she braved every treatment, enduring every pain and awful side effects. She just really was so brave through it all. But, you know, like I said in the beginning, a woman's hair is her pride. Nisha braved all those side effects, but when she lost her hair, she cried. Mm-hmm. She cried hard. And her mother, you know, in support, she shaved her own hair. You know, this is the best thing we could do. But at that time, though, I had already invented my legally thing here, but we were just so busy, so overwhelmed. But I did make a hairpiece for Nisha. I did make a hairpiece, but when I made the hairpiece, it was before we realized how sensitive she was to all the other fabrics, except cotton and silk. And the hairpiece that I made for her was not cotton, was not silk. But she was too sick anyway to bother with that. And I didn't realize that she didn't wear her hairpiece as much because also the fabric was not the right fabric. But I just thought, you know, she's too sick to be bothered with this stuff, you know. So, where was I? Then after Nisha passed, that's when I picked up this project again. You know what? What a coincidence! Like, what exactly happened here? Things seem to be just so aligned up that I thought about this. I created this legal invention, and then all of a sudden, my first thought was, I'm going to donate all these. I'm going to make a lot of these and donate them to cancer patients. And then my granddaughter gets sick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Cancer. And I said, yeah, how does this even make sense? So what came out of that? You know, I just couldn't help thinking this hair scarf had to do with Nisha. You know? And then with Cleopatra now, Cleopatra was already a hairdresser. I'm not a hairdresser, I'm not a seamstress, but this idea came to me, I think, because of my own experience of alopecia.
Yeah.
So we took Cleopatra's expertise, hairdressing expertise, and her new knowledge about fabrics that were comfortable for Nisha. We took those two and now transformed my simple, humble idea of the hairpiece into a nice, comfortable hairpiece for cancer patients that we call the Niesh, of course, after Nisha. So we call that hairpiece the Niesh Hair Scarf. And we use fabric that anybody with sensitive skin will tolerate. And so the idea is to donate these to cancer patients who have lost their hair through chemotherapy, through cancer treatment. And this is now Nisha's legacy. And it's just, we're so excited. I'm very excited doing this. It just fills me up. And I found myself, just after Nisha passed, I should tell you this. Before Nisha passed, before Nisha passed away, we got a phone call. My mother was very sick in Zimbabwe again. This is now about a year later. I told you just around August 2018, I got that phone call and I had to Zimbabwe. Yes, and then 2019, September 2019, it was, to be exact, September 22nd, 2019, we got a phone call. My mother had passed away in Zimbabwe.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was now, and Nisha is struggling in the hospital. My daughter is struggling. Yeah, I don't even know
how did you deal with all of that, with your mother passing and then, later then your granddaughter passed? What got you through that?
It's support, family, friends, lots of prayers from my faith community. Because it was really hard. I think I did get into a place where I was in just pilot mode, especially during the first. I'm just trying to think. My mother passed on September 22nd. 2 days later, my husband and my sister and myself were in the plane to go to Zimbabwe to bury my mother. We buried my mother on a Friday. Saturday, Nisha passed behind us, 2 kids.
Oh, my goodness.
Honestly, what I can tell you is that I was just on pilot mode. I think because my faith, I believe in God. So I had had a lot of people praying. We had lots of prayers coming our way. To this day, I believe with no doubt that's what carried us. Because during that 10, 12 days, we were just responsive. I know I was just responsive. I was not myself. Because
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I think you had to get numb, I think, to get through stuff like this. Because when we came back, I remember that coming back from Zimbabwe, when we arrived, it's not the kids, but where was Nisha's? Oakville, Ontario. We got there. I stayed up overnight after traveling 18 hours. I stayed up overnight making an outfit for my Nishas for the burial by hand, needle and thread. And I made it.
Good.
And I made a perfect outfit for her. And she was dressed in it the next day. And you have to have something carrying you at that point. There is no way I can credit to myself that I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, it's like going through the motions.
Exactly. So, but the days after that, I also had to be strong for Cleopatra, for my daughter. I think, because I think at some point before Nisha passed, I did reach a point where I had accepted. I didn't know what point I reached that. There was a long time that I was in denial, and I think I went past that. I think it was just a few weeks before Nisha passed that somehow I did come to a point of accepting that the situation was dire. I know that because I remember that when I was thinking about Nisha, I wasn't crying as much as when I'm thinking about Cleopatra. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So I think I was feeling like I had accepted, and I was...
Accepted, yes.
Yeah, I accepted that Nisha is going, but I didn't know what's going to happen to Cleopatra, how is Cleopatra going to deal with this. So it looks like at some point it switched for me, my concern became Cleopatra.
And may I ask, how old was Niesh when she passed?
She was 16.
16.
She was 15 when she was diagnosed, yes. And then she...
So how did you...
Sorry?
I was to say, how did you feel then as a grandmother, now mourning the loss of your granddaughter, and then having to be there as a mom for your daughter? That's a lot to go through.
Yeah, it was tough. It was really hard. My husband was there. He helped me a lot through this. My church community, which is my faith community, they were there 100%. I think I quickly went into the mode of doing something, trying to do something to help Cleopatra. I kind of just put myself aside and concentrated on Cleopatra. And this, you know what, this other thing, I found myself telling this story over and over, non-stop. Anybody who could listen, I would talk to them. I didn't realize at the time, though, that this was therapeutical.
Yes, that's a form of therapy.
I know now, yeah. I just I had this need to repeat the story over and over. Every time I came across maybe a new person, I just repeated the story. This is what happened. My granddaughter, this, my mother, this, and I'll just go over the story. And then eventually I started to concentrate. Actually, before I started, I came across a cancer patient before I went back into the hair scarf to create this hair scarf. I came across a cancer patient who, I should say, I came across this woman. I was wearing my hair scarf. She saw me and she looked at my hair scarf and her eyes just lit up and she was like, I like that. I like that. I said, oh, I can make one for you. And she said, unfortunately, I don't have hair like you. It's the slicky thing, if you could see it. It's very interesting. She said, unfortunately, I don't have hair, because she thought I have hair, right? So that's what my hair looks like, yeah. So I said, join the club. I took it off. In the middle of it, we're in a grocery store. I took it off. I like, join the club. Oh my goodness. The joy in her eyes, and she was so surprised. The cashier, on the other hand, was there too. I think she couldn't believe what she was looking at. So I took it off and I put it back on again. I said, you see? And then I said, so how did you lose your hair? She said, I have breast cancer, stage 4.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I said, okay, I'll make you one, okay? And I said, what's your natural hair? She said, I'm a natural blonde. And she said, how much is this? How much I'll pay you for it? I said, no. You don't have to pay me for it. I want to make it for you. So it took me 3 weeks to find blonde hair. I've never worked with hair. I didn't know where to start. It was just my idea, but yeah. So it took me 3 weeks. I finally found blonde hair, and I made. It was the joy I felt, Cynthia. Oh, my goodness. the
Miss
joy
Sipho, you were making me so teary-eyed. This is just so beautiful what you're doing for people, and then they're just coming into your path like this is what God wants you to do.
It's a gift. It was a gift I was given a few days before my own granddaughter's diagnosis. And this is a gift that I will treasure for as long as I live. Because, one, it's a legacy for my granddaughter.
Yes.
Two, it's going to help other women, not just only cancer patients, women with alopecia, women. And not only that, women with a full head of hair can use the niche. I call it the niche. Yeah, it's a beautiful design, and just women can use it just to change it up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe I need to get one to switch it up.
Oh, well, you give me your address. You got one coming. Yeah. It is. It's,
so, Miss Sipho.
Yeah, it has given me so much joy, and I'm so happy too because Cleopatra is coming along slowly. She's getting excited about it.
I'm glad to hear that.
She said it gave me Nisha's pictures. And the other thing that I'm really hoping for, I'm hoping this story, this Niesh Hair Scarf is more than just a hairpiece, as I've told you. It's not just a hairpiece. There's more to it. This whole story is the thing. I'm really hoping people who have lost their little ones will get inspired when they read this story, when they come across the niche and hear how it came about, because I want to send a message that no matter how short, every life has a purpose.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and you know what? It's this is Nish's legacy.
Yes, that's her legacy. She's still living on through you and through the gift now that you have that you are sharing with others through her.
Amen.
And that's just a most beautiful, wonderful story that I'm in tears listening to you speak. It's just a wonderful story. So if people wanted to look up the niche or, maybe buy one for someone that they know is in need, how can they do that, Ms. Sophie?
Yes, we have a website in Lawrence College that I met. I went there to look for help creating the website. She got really excited and took this under her wing and organized a team of students create the website for us. So they're the ones who've created the website. They're the ones running the website. And the website is called nishsworld.com. And Nish is Niesh, with S between Nish and world. So NIESHSWORLD.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so just when you go to nishsworld.com, you can then read more about the niche, our story, and how you can get involved. Some people can buy the niche for themselves, but each niche hair scarf sold, generates a niche hair scarf for a cancer patient. So if we sell 2 niches, if we sell 2 niches, we'll donate 2 niches. We sell 3, we'll donate 3. 1, we donate 1.
That
and
is
also
beautiful.
Involving the community women like as a social enterprise. Some women who want to work from home, who are not able to work outside the home, maybe because of the newcomers, English language barrier, or they have little ones at home. They can get involved and work and make some niche hair scarves because it's a very simple design.
Oh, yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So how can they contact you if they wanted to get involved that way as well?
The same, the website has
Same
all
way.
the information.
Okay. Niche'sWorld.com.
World.com. I can also give my phone number. It's 613-329-4300. 613-329-4300. That's my phone number. My name is Sipho.
Ms. Sipho, I want to thank you for coming onto the show and sharing your story. I know it wasn't easy for you, and I just want to thank you for myself as a cancer survivor for the wonderful work that you are doing for those affected by cancer and those that are not, that are in need of these scarves, and that Niche is living on through these scarves and your work.
Thank you so much for inviting me to the show.
It's been such a pleasure talking to you, and you're such a beautiful person.
You too, my dear, because that's why I'm on this show. That's why a friend of mine introduced me to you, because of your journey and what you're doing for everybody else. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. You take care. Bye-bye. You are listening to Boob Talk, and I'm your host, Cynthia Rogers. A special thank you to our guest tonight, Ms. Sipho Ibeakanma, for sharing how the death of her granddaughter to cancer inspired her to help others with her business, Niesh World, Niesh Hair Scarf. It can be devastating to lose a loved one, especially to cancer unexpectedly, and it does take courage to move on. And so we just want to thank Ms. Sipho for having the courage to let her granddaughter's legacy live on through her scarf business. So until next time, God bless. You have been listening to Boob Talk with your host, Cynthia Rogers. Remember, never give up hope.